Hello, folks. Thank you so much for joining this session. I'm Adam Devine. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for a company called Kore.ai. And our claim to fame is that we are actually a technical partner, a technology partner of Automation Anywhere in the IQ pod. And I will get into more of that in just a second. But the topic that we're going to discuss today is conversational AI. So all of you guys have probably achieved a tremendous amount of productivity and operational efficiency gains through Automation Anywhere's back office RPA. And we're going to talk about front office. So that same wave of innovation that hit the back office starting at around 2014, 2015, well, it's coming to the front office, and it's coming in the form of a technology called conversational AI, which uses natural language understanding to understand a customer or an employee's intentions and entities and respond to them in natural language. So it basically automates interactions between people and technology, and interactions between technology. So as I mentioned, we started working with Automation Anywhere a few years ago to help add NLU, natural language understanding, to the IQ bot, which is the capability that Automation Anywhere provides to handle unstructured data. So if you think about the end-to-end process that IQ bot delivers, there's pre-processing, there's classification, extraction, and post-processing. And our technology adds value in that sort of fuzzy middle ground. And what it does, it adds a layer of validation to Automation Anywhere's technology to basically classify and extract unstructured data. So that's why we're here. That's why we're working together. And for our efforts, for our collaboration, we were actually awarded their Automation Anywhere's Partner of the Year 2 years in a row. So it was a big honor. It's been a really productive partnership for us, and we've delighted and satisfied a number of customers together. So if you think about the typical back office, typically what you guys want to be able to do is automate as much as possible and learn from the process. So if we take that same lens of productivity and efficiency and we shine a spotlight on the front office, there's three objectives. The front office wants to automate as many interactions as possible. And by interaction, I mean a customer call into a contact center or a chat. And you want to augment the performance of your agents, so making sure that every agent interaction is the best agent interaction. And you want to be able to learn from the customer journey. What are some of the insights that we can glean about how our business is performing? What are our customers thinking? What's the sentiment? What's the average handling time? And so on. So those are the three typical goals for the front office. So if you think about interactions within a business, if you think about how a customer or an employee typically experiences a business, it usually follows the same continuum. With customer experience, the experience is going to begin with some form of marketing, then it's going to turn into a sales transaction, and then it's going to be an upsell or a support. And if you think about an employee, it usually begins with recruiting, and then there's performance management, and at some point in the life cycle, inevitably people are going to be offboarded. And how well a business handles these interactions, both from a customer and an employee perspective, determines how the business performs. So the stakes are high. With every single interaction, the stakes are high. And if you think about the typical business, the very few of those interactions between customers, between employees, are actually strategic, creative, thoughtful, require kind of personal interaction. The vast majority of them are going to be focused on the typical routine binary interactions like transactions, business inquiries, and FAQs. And that's typically about 80% of the interactions. So some examples of employee interactions would be like, how many days left do I have on my vacation plan, or schedule a meeting with someone, or how many opportunities are there in Salesforce? And if you think about customer interactions, it's interactions like adding a new component to a service plan, or scheduling an appointment, or transferring money from point A to point B. So these types of interactions, the ones that comprise the bottom 80% of the so-called interaction pyramid, those are the ones that conversational AI can automate for you. So what are some of the common problems that contact centers are facing? Well, for one, people wait too long for support. We've all been there where we call an 800 number or we begin a chat and we're interminably on hold. That's a problem. The second is that the so-called support channels that businesses offer to self-resolve requests, they actually don't provide that much service. You can't actually get things done on them. and they're not personalized. They don't take the context of a customer and engage with that customer in a way that makes them feel known and understood. The third problem is that the agents that fill the front office support team, they're doing too many routine tasks, just like what we saw with RPA in the back office. Too many routine manual tasks drives up the cost and lowers the efficiency of a back office, and the same problem happens in the front office with a support team. And then pervasive throughout the entire organization, there's just not a lot of IT resources. So you just don't have enough technical people to solve these technological problems. And then the last one is that any kind of big tech, whether it's a GL or an ERP or whatever, it takes a long time to change it, and it's super expensive. So for each one of these problems, there are named capabilities that solve them. For the first one, people waiting too long for support, you have what's called a conversational user experience. So instead of waiting on hold for a live person or waiting on chat for someone to come and engage with you, you are immediately greeted by a conversational virtual assistant that asks you, what can I do for you? And a customer can interact with that conversational assistant in the same way that they would with a live person. For the second one, intelligent virtual assistants solve the problem of support channels. So rather than just having a chatbot that can greet you and then ultimately escalate you to a person, you have an intelligent virtual assistant that can do things for you. And we're going to the third problem now, it's integrated with actual back office capability like RPA. This conversational virtual assistant can run a transaction for your customers. So you're containing the entire interaction from question to resolution in the virtual assistant. So it radically reduces your costs and it improves your capabilities. And then the scarce IT resources, it's all about no code these days. Automation Anywhere was an early pioneer and just kind of WYSIWYG, drag and drop, super simple to configure RPA capability. And Core is pioneering that same no code interface with conversational automation. And then for the last one, this is kind of a foundational capability. You want to be able to have a software development lifecycle platform to reduce the amount of time and cost it takes to change applications. So what does it actually take to automate an interaction from start to finish? There's 5 steps. The first one is you need to have omni-channel capability to receive the request, whether it's WhatsApp or social or text or email. The second is being able to understand the need, so being able to identify the entities and intents in communication. The third is being able to design the dialogue and not just receiving inbound, but actually managing and leading the dialogue so that the customer feels like there's somebody on the other end who actually knows what they're doing. And then the fourth is fulfilling requests, not just answering questions, but actually running a transaction on behalf of a customer. And then the last one is analytics. You have all these conversations and interactions happening within your business. What's the metadata? How can you learn from all these interactions, both from a granular perspective and also from a dashboard analytics perspective? So, this is not a super new capability. It's been around long enough that the big analysts are already talking about it. So Gartner says the ability to chat through text or even talk using voice with applications, services, and brands is fueling a wave of innovation and customer experience. I'm sure all of you guys have heard about CX. And then ISG says as bots are maturing and becoming smarter to provide more human-like experience, agents will become more specialized to handle complex queries. And the reason I chose that quote is that you guys have heard the same message in the back office. The whole idea is to automate as many routine back office tasks so that the people who are in the back office actually handle the more advanced kind of edge cases or corner cases, the exceptions that RPA can handle. And the same is really true in the front office. You want your agents being able to handle the most advanced inquiries and requests, and also so that they can spend the time upselling. So like with any wave of technology, you are faced with a choice. Do I build this or do I buy this? And building conversational AI has pros and cons, and buying conversational AI has pros and cons. Simply put, the pros of building virtual assistants from microservices from the big tech players like Google and Microsoft and Amazon and so on, you get exactly what you want. You can build it with full control. You're not locked into a vendor's product roadmap. The con of that is that you need engineers. You basically have to stitch together all these capabilities and build it. And that takes a lot of time. It takes a dedicated team, and then you have to maintain it. So the same kind of thing is true of buying. That you have pros and cons. The pro of buying a pre-built virtual assistant from a vendor is that you get to market a lot faster. You have support and services built in. The con is that you're locked into that vendor's product roadmap, so you can't customize it too much. But there is actually a third way. And that third way eliminates the cons and emphasizes the pros. So our model is to provide a no-code conversational AI platform that allows businesses to build whatever they want, any kind of a domain or functional expertise virtual assistant without using any code. But then we've also pre-built a way of delivering a CX capability and an EX capability. And on top of that, we have dedicated industry solutions like banking and healthcare and so on. And we have dedicated functional solutions like HR and IT. So all told, the benefits of front office automation, of conversational AI, are every bit as kind of tantalizing as the benefits of back office automation. You're typically going to reduce your front office costs by about 30%. You're going to deliver service about 5 times faster, and you'll improve NPS by 25% within the first 6 months. So it's a big win. So a little bit about Core. This is that typical slide that shows all the logos, the fancy businesses who trust us, and the results that we've generated since the day we were founded. So probably the most impressive statistic on this slide for you guys, given that a lot of your motivation to buy RPA is to reduce cost. We've reduced about $500 million in costs since the day we were founded. We typically deliver between 15% and 75% automation rates, and that's a big swing because it varies by use case. And what's really cool is that you've probably used a Core virtual assistant without even knowing it. So we've touched about 70 million end customers, and internally for employee experience like HR and IT, we have about 500,000 people using our virtual assistants. So in terms of the platform, don't need to get into a whole lot of depth on this, but the core platform, which is that foundational layer that allows businesses to build, test, configure a virtual assistant without any code, we cover that entire life cycle. So you can build a virtual assistant, you can train it, integrate it easily, test it, deploy and manage it, and then design and tune it. So we make it very easy to manage the entire life cycle on one platform. This slide just kind of gives you a sense of our special sauce, so to speak. So what we do uniquely well is natural language understanding, which is essentially a branch of AI that recognizes kind of nouns and verbs in conversational speech. And we do that really well because we have these 3 engines built in. Not only are we using machine learning, we're also using a foundational meaning engine as well as a knowledge graph. So that makes us particularly adept in industry applications like in banking, where there's thousands and thousands of words that mean different types of transactions. We're always going to beat out anybody else when it comes to subject matter expertise because our NLP is just that good. And I think the big differentiator is context. So when you're looking for a conversational AI partner, you want to know that if a customer comes back to your contact center after 4 or 5 calls, that virtual assistant is going to know about those 4 or 5 previous calls. They're going to know, the virtual assistant is going to know what the previous transactions were. And the virtual assistant will be able to basically pick up that conversation as if it were a never-ending conversation by bringing in the context. So context is key when 2 people are talking, and context is key when a person is talking to a virtual assistant. So if you think about the competitive landscape and you think of it in terms of pre-built functionality on the y-axis and platform depth and capabilities on the x-axis, Core is going to win against any grouping of vendors. So in terms of those domain-focused virtual assistants, you have a cluster that are really good at the pre-built, but they have a very light platform. It's not extensible. So if you buy a banking virtual assistant from a dedicated banking virtual assistant provider, you won't be able to do IT, you won't be able to do HR, you won't be able to build some sort of a custom virtual assistant, so that there's low extensibility in this model. And if you think about the sort of big tech companies that provide a platform, they're not productized. So among the vendors that have a fully productized model where there is a platform and there's typically some kind of build out of a solution, we're number one because we have the widest array of pre-built virtual assistants, and we have the best depth in terms of NLP and context management. So a quick case study. Like if you guys are in banking or healthcare or insurance, you probably notice a significant spike in your inbound because there's no in-person support. So one of our big banking customers was unable to scale their contact center during COVID, so they used our virtual assistant to automatically deflect certain calls to digital, which is when a call comes in, and based on a certain number of criteria, they are deflected to digital chat, or they're deflected to, or the call is automated entirely. And with this particular bank, they were able to automate 15% of service requests and contain 90% of their calls in the IVR, which is a pretty significant achievement. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Himanshu to talk you through an example of how it's integrated to RPA, because I think a great value proposition for us is being able to pair with Automation Anywhere's RPA to make an entire process automated. So beginning with a conversation and ending with an RPA transaction.
Thank you, Adam. Hi, this is Himanshu Pitolwala. Here is an example of an RPA bot integrated with a chatbot. So on the screen, on the left-hand side, let's say you have a user on your web page or in a mobile app or any channel of engagement. The user is looking for some information. In this case, policy details, could be invoice details, where's my order kind of a scenario as well. The virtual assistant is going to interact with the user in a conversational fashion, collect all the information from the user, and then pass it down to a RPA bot to go either get information from a system of records like SAP, or even make an update. In this example, we are getting this information about some policy details and delivering to the user. So this is a clear example of how a chatbot integrates with a RPA process bot. Like Adam mentioned earlier about another product that we have, which is the Smart Assist product. Let me go talk about that now. So I'm going to switch gears here a bit. On my screen, I have the Smart Assist dashboard. In this dashboard up here on top, we have the statistics. So let's say about activity from the current day. There is none today. There's historic information over last 7 days. How many sessions have we had in this Smart Assist platform dashboard. We also have containment. Now, Smart Assist is your cloud contact center solution. So in that case, what's the containment? How much automation have we had? How many interactions have we had? It's all available here in this on the screen, including how many times, let's say that the user started a certain flow or a task, but never really completed it for some reason. Any unidentified users' inputs or utterances are important for us to keep a watch on, so we can see those too. We can see where are things, not going right for the virtual assistant, as it were. Let's go further up and take a look at the configuration. This is where actually we should start our journey with the use cases. What are the use cases that we want to automate? There could be questions and answers, simple question and answers, or they could be conversational flows. Yeah, I can always go here and add a new use case right there. Let's just take a look at an existing one. Here are some retail banking use cases, payment, ATM. Here's one for close an account. When I click through here to view the experience and the responses, so with Smart Assist, we're able to deliver different experiences for a certain use case. Let's say a user calls and says they want to, check the balance or make a payment, then you can simply automate that using the underlying core platform automation capabilities. For certain scenarios, like someone wants to close an account, you could simply hand off the conversation to an agent saying, hold on, I'll get someone else to help you out, yeah? And in certain scenarios, like let's say transactions or ATM locations, you could, when someone calls in, you could say, hold on, let me send you a message or show it to you in your mobile application if someone already has one. These are the different experiences that we can deliver for a phone call for a certain use case. Similarly, for chat, you can either automate that or also hand off the conversation to an agent in chat as well. Okay. Let me close this. So this is where we have our use cases, questions and answers or conversational flows. There's some other settings, but let's take a look at this one here. When I click through, these are your connectivity settings. Yeah, this is where we can set up the incoming call setup. How are people going to really interact with us here? So we can issue a phone number I can click through on this one. I could change and get a different number. I'm not going to do that at the moment. Let me close this out. If you already have an IVR infrastructure set up, we do not need to issue a new number. We can simply transfer from an IVR. Let me click through on this one. I'll confirm that. I'll say fine. We'll just click through. On this screen, you can see from an existing IVR infrastructure, we're able to transfer the user's call to what is known as SIP transfer, or more technically SIP refer, and send it over to Smart Assist, where we can deliver the automation. There's some other settings here too. Let me close from here. So that's the incoming call setup. Now for the outgoing call setup, when the virtual assistant needs to hand off conversation to a human agent, so we can transfer the call back. We can actually dial out a number, or when I click through here, similarly, we can transfer back to your existing infrastructure that you may already have in your contact center through a SIP transfer. And when we do that, we can also transfer the context of the conversation. So it's a warm handoff. So the agent knows what this has just communicated or what automation has already taken place. Yeah. Let me close out of this as well. Now for incoming phone calls, when I take you to advanced settings here, and further below out here is the voice preferences. Let me click through on this one. These are the various speech recognition products, third-party products that Smart Assist is pre-integrated with. And here are the different voice preferences or text-to-speech options that you have. Let's say if you select Google in this case, then these are the different options that Google TTS offers. You could pick one that you like and then actually preview it. Let's give this a try.
Thank you for calling us.
So you can get a feel for how it's going to sound, the quality of the voice, as it were. Let me close out of here. So that's the incoming phone call, the voice preferences, speech preferences, and the outgoing phone call as well that you saw. Now for chat, these are the different options available to transfer to a chat agent. Now these are a few pre-integrated ones that we currently have. You could actually integrate with any third-party product of your choice. We'll help you with that. Smart Assist itself offers an agent console. So you could transfer the call within Smart Assist. There's automation, there's also agent setup available. It's a proper contact center solution, yeah? In my case up here, I have, let's say, selected Salesforce. When I click on it, again, you just put in the required connectivity configuration details and you're set to go. You don't need to write any code. Let me close out of here. So just to recap, we have our use cases, we have our incoming, outgoing phone and chat setup. Once I have that in place, we can go ahead and actually give it a try. So now this particular use case that we have is retail banking use case. So we'll do balances, transfers, and things like that. So let's go give that a try now. We'll make a phone call.
Thank you for calling us. I'm an automated assistant powered by smartassist.ai. Please tell me, how can I help you today?
Yeah, hi. What's my account balance?
For which account would you like to check your balance? Checking, savings, trading, credit card.
I need my credit card information, please.
The balance of your credit card account is $3,596. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Please transfer $2,000 from savings to checking.
I am ready to transfer $2,000 from savings account to checking account. Is this correct?
Let's make that 1,000.
I am ready to transfer $1,000 from savings account to checking account. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Your fund transfer is successful. The balance of your savings account is $16,290. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
I need to pay my phone bill. I have $62.12 due.
I am ready to transfer $62.12 to Bujam's Telecom Services from your current account. Is this correct?
What's the balance in my savings account?
The balance of your savings account is $17,290. Let's go back to where we were. I am ready to transfer $62.12 to Bujam's telecom services from your current account. Is this correct?
That's okay.
Your payment to Bujam's telecom services of $62.12 is successful. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Yes, I need cash. I'm looking for an ATM.
I'll need to transfer you to chat for this. Please provide your phone number and we'll send you a link to continue.
1-407-607-3325.
You have entered 1-4-0-7-6-0-7-3-3-2-5. Please press 1 to confirm or 2 to modify.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you for providing your phone number. You will receive a message with a link to continue the conversation. Your call will now be disconnected. Thank you for calling.
So here we go on my phone. I just got a message, so I can now continue on. Click through on this one and continue my conversation with the virtual assistant. It just brings me back and says, you have the ATMs that you're looking for. Even in digital, the virtual assistant can always ask for location or any information that's needed from the user. The user can continue here, again, engage with the virtual assistant, look for information, something like, what is a start payment? So you can get, simple information from the user. You can continue conversation. Here is the SMS that I just received. When I click through on it, I can actually go and continue the conversation with the virtual assistant. And I'm just going to reconnect. It comes back online and says, here are the ATMs that you're looking for. The assistant could always interact with the user and get more information if needed. Let's go try something like, what's my balance? Just simply continue here as well. What's my account balance? It says, okay, for which account? You can select one and continue on the conversation. At some point, for a use case or for a scenario where the user simply says something like, get me an agent, please. In this case, so what I've just done on my screen is I have the user on the left-hand side and the agent on the right-hand side. I'm using Salesforce at the moment, and you can see here the user is interacting with the agent. The user can now continue a conversation, say something like, I need help. The message is sent to the user, the agent. The agent can say, sure, I can help. Sure, I can help. And the conversation goes on. By the way, the agent has access to, if I click through in here, the agent has access to all the information that the virtual assistant has interacted with the user earlier. The user details, again, out here, anything unidentified, anything that was left incomplete, even the entire chat history conversation is available for the agents to look at if there's need for it, yeah? Let me go back to the agent console here. Once the conversation is done, we can end the conversation right here, and the user can be back talking to the virtual assistant is the idea. Back into Smart Assist dashboard. So we've seen a use case, we can test it, and while you're doing all that, you can look at the conversational logs. And when I click through on something like this right here, or this one, you will see the conversational details. You also see the chat history of the conversation that just took place. So this has been a demonstration of the Smart Assist product by Kore.ai. Thank you.
Well, folks, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it. We'd love to do business with you. You've already chosen the best RPA platform in the business. Now it's time to choose the best conversational AI platform in the business. My email address is right there. I'd be happy to personally answer any questions that you may have. And for now, I wish you all a great day, and I encourage you to go be great. Take care.